The wind drifts across the golden fields, carrying whispers of old memories. Heartland stands still, caught in that rare moment of quiet when the world feels safe. But change is already walking toward its gates, silent as the dawn, and just as unstoppable. Morning light spills across the Heartland Ranch, painting everything in warm gold. The horses move gently in their paddocks, their breath misting in the cool air. Amy walks among them with quiet grace, her touch calm and sure. Every step she takes carries the strength of someone who has weathered storms, yet still believes in peace. The sound of hooves, the rustle of hay, and the distant laughter of the ranch hands wrap around her like an old familiar song. This is the world she has built from love and loss, from courage and hope. She kneels beside a young foal, brushing its coat as the sun climbs higher. The camera lingers on her face as she smiles, soft and unguarded, the way she only smiles when surrounded by the ones who cannot betray her. For a moment it feels like time itself has slowed. The ranch is alive with quiet beauty, but beneath that calm lies a tension too subtle to name. A single crow calls from the fence, breaking the silence, and Amy looks up as if she feels something shifting in the wind. At the far edge of the property, a figure stands just beyond the fence line. He watches the ranch with stillness that feels both curious and cautious. His name is Nathan, though Amy does not know it yet. He does not move closer, not yet. The camera cuts to his boots sinking slightly in the soft earth, then to his hands gripping the worn strap of an old saddle slung over his shoulder. There is history in his posture, something heavy carried quietly. Amy straightens and shields her eyes from the sun, sensing eyes on her. She spots him from afar, just a dark silhouette framed by light. For a moment they simply look at one another across the open field. No words, no motion, just the weight of an unspoken question hanging between them. The wind gusts through the trees, carrying leaves into a slow spiral between them. When Amy blinks, the figure is gone. Only the quiet remains, but something in her chest stirs uneasily. She brushes the feeling away and returns to her work, unaware that the stillness of this morning will soon shatter. The horses suddenly shift and toss their heads, ears flicking nervously toward the distant road. Amy frowns, glancing up once more. The camera pans back to the fence line, where the earth bears fresh boot prints leading toward the ranch. The peaceful music fades to silence as the screen goes dark. A single voice speaks low and steady, like a warning carried on the wind. Every storm begins in silence. The sun dips lower over Heartland as evening draws close. Long shadows stretch across the paddocks while the barn doors creak in the cooling wind. The ranch feels different tonight, quieter in a way that unsettles Amy. She walks back from the stables with a soft smile still on her face, but it falters when she spots Nathan standing near the old corral. He seems out of place, like a figure cut from another life and stitched into hers without warning. His gaze lingers on the barn, as if he is seeing ghosts no one else can see. Inside the house, Jack sits at the kitchen table with a worn photo in his hands. The camera tilts down to reveal a younger version of himself standing beside a man who looks strikingly like Nathan. Jack's jaw tightens as he slides the photo into a drawer and shuts it with a dull thud. The tension in his shoulders says more than words ever could. He has seen that face before, and it carries the weight of memories he has buried deep. When he finally steps outside, his boots hit the porch with heavy purpose. He calls out to Nathan with the kind of calm that warns of storms. Nathan turns slowly, his eyes cold but steady. The light from the setting sun catches on an old scar along his jawline. For a fleeting second, the mask slips, and something like pain flickers across his expression. Jack stops a few steps away, their eyes locking in the still air. The silence between them feels sharp, like wire drawn tight. Amy watches from the edge of the yard, her heart quickening as she senses something unspoken passing between the two men. It is not hostility exactly, but it is not peace either. It feels older, heavier, like a story that has not been told in years. Later that night, Amy finds herself unable to sleep. She moves through the darkened house, her footsteps soft on the wooden floorboards. The old attic door stands slightly ajar as if the house itself is whispering to her. She climbs the steps and finds an old trunk covered in dust. When she opens it, The smell of old paper and leather rises like a ghost from the past. Inside are faded letters tied with twine, each one marked with the initials N.W. Her hands tremble as she lifts the first letter. The ink is smudged, but the words are clear enough to chill her. I never meant to leave without saying goodbye. Amy draws a sharp breath as if the air has grown thin around her. The screen cuts to black, and the sound of a match striking echoes in the darkness. A candle flares to life, revealing Nathan's face lit from below. His eyes stare straight into the camera, unreadable and still. A voice speaks over the image, low and almost broken. Some secrets never stay buried. Morning mist rolls over the hills like a soft blanket as Heartland wakes once again. The ranch feels alive, the tension of last night fading into the hum of daily work. Amy leads a restless chestnut horse into the round pen. Its eyes flash with fear, its muscles quiver with nervous energy. The air hums with its wildness. She speaks in a calm, steady tone, her voice like water smoothing stone. Yet the horse bolts at the slightest movement, circling with frantic hooves pounding the dirt. Amy steadies herself and waits, patient as the rising sun. Nathan leans quietly against the fence, watching. His presence is calm, almost invisible, yet the horse notices him. It slows, ears flicking toward him. Amy frowns, wiping sweat from her brow. Nathan steps forward and lifts a hand, palm open. The horse pauses, sides heaving. He doesn't speak. He simply stands there, breathing slow, grounded like the earth beneath his boots. The animal takes one cautious step toward him. Amy's eyes widen. It is the first time the horse has moved without fear since it arrived. The air between the three of them feels delicate, like a thread about to snap or hold. She lets him enter the pen. The horse circles once more, slower this time, then stops entirely. Nathan moves with quiet certainty, reading its fear as if it is written in the air. Amy watches him closely, curiosity pushing aside the last of her doubts. There is something in the way he moves that feels familiar yet strange, like an echo of her own methods shaped by different hands. When the horse finally lets Nathan touch its neck, Amy feels something shift inside her. It is not trust yet, but it is the start of something close. Hours pass without either of them noticing. They work side by side, saying little, letting their shared focus speak louder than words. The horse begins to relax, its wild edge softening under their combined patience. Amy catches Nathan looking at her when he thinks she isn't watching. His gaze is not bold or challenging. It carries a quiet respect, like he is seeing the strength she often forgets she has. She looks away quickly, unsure why her heart has started beating faster. Later, as the sun dips low, they walk back to the barn together. Their shoulders almost touch, but do not. The silence between them has changed. It is no longer sharp or cold. It feels warm now, like a small fire just beginning to burn. The screen fades to black, and a single line rises in soft white letters as the music swells gently. Sometimes the strongest bonds are born from broken pieces. The days grow shorter as autumn winds sweep across the ranch. The leaves turn amber and gold, drifting through the paddocks like scattered embers. Heartland looks peaceful from a distance, but inside its fences the air feels heavier. Whispers follow Nathan wherever he walks. Ranch hands glance at him from the corners of their eyes and fall silent when he nears. Amy notices, though no one speaks of it to her directly. She tries to shake it off, but the unease hangs in the air like smoke that refuses to clear. One evening, Amy walks into the barn to find Jack and Tim speaking in low, urgent voices. Their words stop the moment they see her. Jack's jaw is set like stone while Tim paces with restless energy. They exchange a look, and Jack finally says what she knew was coming. He tells her to be careful, to keep her distance from Nathan until they know who he really is. His tone is calm, but his eyes carry the weight of old battles. Amy answers quietly that she trusts what she sees, but Jack's frown only deepens. Tim mutters under his breath that trust can get people hurt. The tension between them crackles like static. The next day, a sudden storm rolls in from the foothills. Rain lashes the roofs as the wind howls through the trees. Amid the chaos, one of the young horses breaks loose, bolting across the muddy yard. Amy rushes after it, shouting warnings, but the ground is slick and treacherous. The horse skids toward the fence at dangerous speed. Nathan moves before anyone else can. He cuts across the yard, mud flying under his boots, and throws himself in front of the runaway colt. The animal slides to a stop inches from him, trembling but unhurt. The ranch falls silent except for the pounding of hooves fading into the distance. Amy kneels beside the colt, checking its legs while her breath comes fast. Nathan stands quietly beside her, rain dripping from his hair. Jack arrives seconds later, eyes wide with fear that hardens into anger. He pulls Amy to her feet and rounds on Nathan with a voice like thunder. He accuses him of recklessness, of bringing danger to the ranch, of earning trust he has not deserved. Nathan says nothing, his face unreadable, rainwater carving dark lines across his jaw. Amy tries to speak, but Jack's voice drowns her out as he orders Nathan to stay away from the horses until further notice. That night, the storm passes, but the air stays heavy. The barn is quiet except for the slow dripping of water from the eaves. Amy stands alone in the shadows, brushing the colt's damp coat. Her hands move gently, but her thoughts are loud. Nathan had saved the horse. She knows it. Yet somehow, he is the one everyone now looks at with sharper eyes. She glances toward the dim glow of the bunkhouse window where his silhouette moves behind the curtain. Her chest tightens with something she cannot name. The screen fades to black, and a single voice speaks like the echo of her thoughts. Trust is fragile, and fear breaks it faster than truth can mend. The morning breaks cold and gray over Heartland. A sharp wind rattles the barn doors as Amy saddles her horse, trying to shake off the unease that has been creeping over the ranch like frost. The people around her speak less now. Even the laughter of the ranch hands has gone quiet. She feels the shift every time she walks into a room, the way conversations stop as if she has stepped between two clashing currents. It is not only about Nathan anymore. It is about her and the choice they fear she might be making without realizing it. Jack sits at the kitchen table again, this time with Lou by his side. Their voices are low but urgent as they pore over old papers spread across the worn wood. Contracts, invoices, photographs, and one weathered news clipping that shows a younger Nathan in handcuffs outside a courthouse. The headline is faded, but the words are sharp enough to slice through years of silence. Lou's face pales as she reads it, her voice cracking as she asks if Amy knows. Jack shakes his head. He never told her because he wanted to believe people could change. But the past has a way of bleeding through the walls no matter how well you patch them. Outside, Amy works with the same nervous colt Nathan once calmed. She feels eyes on her from the fence line. When she looks up, Nathan stands there, his face calm but shadowed. She walks toward him, heart pounding with a question she does not yet know how to ask. Before she can speak, Jack storms from the house with the old news clipping clenched in his fist. His voice cuts through the wind like a whip as he throws it at Nathan's boots. The paper lands in the dirt, words staring up like a wound reopened. The ranch falls silent. Even the horses freeze. Nathan does not deny it. He kneels, picks up the crumpled page and folds it with slow, careful hands. When he looks up, his eyes are hollow but steady. He says he served his time, that he left that world behind, that he came here not to hide, but to start again. His voice does not tremble, yet something inside Amy does. She steps closer, searching his face for the man she thought she was beginning to know, and finds shadows she cannot place. Jack turns away, disgust etched deep in his features, and tells Nathan to leave before nightfall. By evening, the ranch has turned against him. Doors that once stayed open now close when he passes. Conversations stop at the sound of his boots on the porch. Amy walks through it all in silence, her heart torn between anger and something she cannot name. She remembers the way he calmed the horse, the quiet patience in his eyes, the way the world seemed softer when he stood near her. Yet she cannot ignore the fear in Jack's voice, or the past wrapped around Nathan's name like barbed wire. She finds herself standing outside his door as the sky darkens. Through the thin walls, she hears the sound of a single bag being packed. The screen goes black as the wind howls through the valley. A voice rises over the darkness, quiet but sharp. Trust, once cracked, can shatter everything. Night settles over Heartland like a heavy blanket. The barn is quiet, the lanterns dimmed, the horses shifting softly in their stalls. Amy leans against a wooden beam, her arms folded tight as if holding herself together. Her mind will not rest. Every word from Jack echoes like hammer strikes in her chest. Every moment with Nathan replays behind her eyes in sharp flashes. The trust in his stillness, the warmth in his silent smile, the way her heart had steadied when he stood near. Now that steadiness is gone and the air feels hollow without it. Out on the edge of the property, the bunkhouse light flickers. Through the thin curtains, Nathan moves slowly, his silhouette bent over a worn canvas bag. He packs in silence, his hands steady even as the weight of what he carries presses on his shoulders. He pauses, glancing at the saddle leaning by the door, the same one he brought when he first walked onto this land. He runs his hand across the leather like it is a part of him he cannot take back. For a moment he stands still in the half-light, as if waiting for the world to stop him, and knowing it will not. Amy walks through the sleeping ranch, her boots silent on the dirt path. The night air bites at her cheeks, but she does not feel it. Her chest aches with the pull of two truths clawing at each other inside her. She thinks of Jack's fear, of Lou's warning eyes, of the way trust has held this family together like old nails in worn wood. She also thinks of the colt, now calm and steady because of Nathan. She thinks of the quiet way he listens when she speaks, the way he never tries to take space yet somehow makes her feel seen. She reaches the bunkhouse steps with her breath caught halfway in her throat. Inside, Nathan slings the bag over his shoulder. The sound is small, but it cuts through her like breaking glass. He opens the door and freezes when he sees her standing there. The silence between them is thick and trembling. His eyes meet hers with something like apology but without regret. He steps down into the cold night, brushing past her without a word. She watches him walk away, his figure shrinking against the darkness, and something inside her shatters. Her boots hit the ground before she knows she is moving. She runs after him through the wind, her voice breaking as it leaves her lips. "Nathan, wait!" He stops but does not turn. The night holds its breath around them. Amy stands a few paces behind, her chest rising and falling like the storm still living inside her. Words tangle on her tongue, heavy with everything she cannot say. The screen fades to black as the sound of her ragged breathing fills the silence. A single line rises across the screen in pale white letters. Some choices are made not with reason, but with the heart. A flash of lightning tears across the dark sky above Heartland. The screen explodes with motion. Horses stampeding through the fields under a driving storm, hooves striking sparks on the slick earth. Music surges like thunder. Jack slams a door in fury as Tim yells after him, their words lost beneath the roar of the wind. Lou clutches an old photograph in trembling hands as tears blur her vision. The camera whirls through chaos, fence posts snapping in the wind, barn doors swinging open, lanterns crashing to the ground. Nathan appears in the middle of the storm, straining to lead a panicked horse to safety while rain lashes across his face. Amy races toward him through the downpour, hair whipping across her eyes, her voice rising in panic. Their hands meet on the lead rope as the horse rears between them, framed by the crack of lightning behind their silhouettes. For one suspended heartbeat, they lock eyes through the storm. The world seems to still, then shatters back into motion. Images flash in quick succession. Jack standing alone on the porch with his hat in his hands, Lou whispering that this family cannot survive another heartbreak. Amy collapsing to her knees in the empty barn. Nathan walking away down the dirt road with his bag over his shoulder. Then a sudden cut to Amy running, boots striking the earth like war drums, her breath ragged as the wind tears through her. Nathan stops at the edge of the ranch, turning just as she crashes into him with desperate force. Silence drops. The storm fades. Their faces hover inches apart as the world holds still. Her hand grips his coat like she is anchoring herself to the only thing left standing. The music swells, soft at first, then rising like sunlight breaking through clouds. Jack appears in the distance, frozen on the porch, his expression unreadable as he watches them stand together in the quiet aftermath. The screen cuts to black. A single voice rises, strong and sure, like a promise carved into stone. In the heart of Heartland, Love and trust will be tested like never before. The title slams onto the screen in bold white letters against a roaring crescendo of music.